Right, welcome to our weekly YouTube video, and I hope you've had a fantastic September, of course, Heritage Month. So we didn't have a video last week because it was a public holiday. I hope you bride lekker, but it's good to be back with you. Interesting time of the year, of course, lots of sunshine. So yeah, solar certainly gaining lots of traction at the moment. Great time of the year to be getting into solar if you haven't done so yet. Now this week we're running a special on a Geyser controller, which is this baby over here without a cover on it, and a couple of high voltage panels. And we're getting lots of questions about the kits once again, just sort of refreshing ourselves about this awesome product. And let's just remind you about some of the key features here. This controller directly into your Geyser, so it's directly onto the element. There's no need for you to drain the Geyser, no plumbers required. It's a really easy retrofit, and it's designed for 2, 3, and 4 kilowatt elements. Really efficient. Up to 50% of households can save on energy by installing one of these bad boys. And it's all about producing the best of solar power and running specifically the Geyser. And we've been manufacturing these for a few years now, and we've just done another software upgrade on it as we continue to learn and adapt the product for all kind of scenarios. So that's why we're telling you a little bit about this product again today. But it did raise an interesting question as we put out this special, people saying, oh, but can I use these panels? Can I use different kind of panels that they've got? So I thought it's best that we touch on this, and it's an important sort of solar lesson for us, and it kind of gets applied for other things, mini grids, general MPPTs and inverters, just an understanding of how these products work. So what I want to do today is just run through a little table, and this is the accurate findings from our amazing team. Pierre and Wouter have been working on this product over the last few weeks, and yeah, excited to share some of this with you. So I'm gonna pick on, I've got all of their research information here, and I want to go through it with you quickly. So what we've got is a Geyser with a 2, a 3, and a 4 kilowatt element. And what I want to do is I want to choose 2 panels here. And this is where sort of it gets interesting, because it depends on what's available in the market. But I've chosen 2 panels that are specific for my point today. The first one is a 340 volt high voltage panel. And interestingly, and the exact open circuit voltage there is 91 volts. So that's very important, 91 volts open circuit. Then the second one, quite a common panel here, 550. That's low voltage, normal kind of panel, and it's open circuit voltage of around 49.6. You can call it 50 volts. All right. So we've got 2 specific panels here, and we've got 3 different kind of elements. We can tell you some more details, of course, about those specific panels if you want to. But what we did was we ran a simulation on these 3 systems. So just to remind you, it's a 340 watt. And then what I've got here is I've got 1, 2, 3 panels. So we ran this simulation. Can this actually work with 1 panel? Now, we've been quite strict about this. We must say that up to this point, we've said you need a minimum voltage. You can't go over 275 volts open circuit. Your wattage needs to be within sort of 900 watts to 2 kilowatts. But we've now run the full simulation with all of the upgrades, and now this is the results. All right, so that's what I want to give you for you today. So let's start with this a 2 kilowatt element, not as common, can be used perhaps in households that are trying to save a bit of energy. So for a 2 kilowatt element, for the day running just 1 panel on a high voltage, it produced 0.9 kilowatt hours. So just less than 1 unit. So it actually did produce a bit of power, which is okay, but no, not very impressive. And the savings aren't going to be significant at all. For the 2 panels, the exact answer there was 2.97 kilowatt hours. So it produced almost 3 units of electricity. So remember, if your Geyser is running, it's a 2 kilowatt running for 2 hours, it's not going to fully heat the water there, all right? And then, of course, we've got this one here, which is 4.4. Oh, that's quite significant, 4.4 kilowatt hours if you're having 3 panels. What's interesting is that this is not proportional. If you look at these different, it just works a whole lot better if you're using this panel that you've got 3 of them. I'll do the same for the 3 kilowatt. Just interestingly, this was 1.44. This one was 2.97. Yeah, 2.97 as well. And this one was 4.4. That's quite interesting now. We're not seeing much of a difference in these regards, and that's just because of the way that this unit is worked. And then interestingly, on this one unit, also 1.4. A 2.9 and a 4.4. So fascinating just to see the difference. And you would often notice that when you pick up one of the manuals of our controllers, the 2 kilowatt has a different kind of power requirement than the 3 or 4 kilowatt elements there. And here you can see the power produced from those panels is pretty much the same across them. Okay, so the optimal in this scenario would be kind of with these high voltage panels. You can get away with 2, but 3 would be better. Let's look at the 550s. This is quite common now. We're seeing this a lot more. There's because these kind of panels weren't actually easily available. We've actually managed to get our hand on some of them, and that's why we're running this special at the moment. But interestingly, on the 2 kilowatt here, this one over here is 1.1, this one is 2.6, and this one is 4.6. Again, a significant jump using fairly standard panels. One panel is only 49 volts, 2 almost 100, but 3 giving us 150 volts. And we've always said you need around 139, 140 volts minimum. You can see that now that unit will work without it, but not produce as much power. So far more efficient. And you'll see it gets even better with these size of elements here. This one 4 on the dot, and this one 7.1. And interestingly, on this last one, this is where we saw quite an interesting change here. 2.3 on the top here. This one was interesting, 5.2. And this one, we saw a huge jump at 9.4. Sort of interesting stats coming through and information from this system. But what it does reveal for us is that the adding another panel is not just addition. It seems like it's a lot more efficient than just adding one more panel. So it sort of raised the question, what's the minimum requirement? The minimum requirement is if you want some kind of hot water heating, 50% is the requirement here in South Africa. You can get away with a couple of less panels and the Geyser controller can handle it. But for the best return of investment, for this product to work optimally, you really want to be having sort of three panels in those scenarios. So one question I had this week is, can I use 800 watt panels? Just out of interest, someone asked, can I use 800 watt panels? 37 volts. Wow, that's an interesting one. I don't know the answer yet for that. It'll be interesting to test that. But you can see that to get the wattage up, it's not going to be difficult, 2 panels, but the voltage will remain very low. And where we've got very low voltage, 1 panels, you can see the performance is not as efficient. So really the key thing here is whatever panel you're using is to size it correctly and ensure that you get the best performance. Now the customer is going to feel that. I know sometimes for us we just want to have the most simplest installation possible, but that's just a great indication for us based on our testings here at the factory, a real life scenario here at the factory of how good this product really is. So for more details on our amazing Geyser controller, contact our sales team. We've got that awesome special running at the moment. Best way to save electricity, and with a potential 40% increase next year, this is a game changer for our households. Right, as always, like, share, and subscribe, and be sure to tune in next week, Tuesday, for our YouTube videos. Thanks, guys.